The first to welcome guests, Rama, firmly adhered
हरे
to
कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
अ, माता जी आपने शायद स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं किया है। आपने
Actually,
पहले शेयर किया था।
हाँ वो PDF थोड़ा
एनीबडी
इधर
एल्स
उधर हो
कैन
गया,
सी। ओके।
so that's why I'm reading it from my phone. तो मैं थोड़ा और धीरे पढ़ूंगी.
ओके ओके माता जी।
Yeah. Rama only embraced the association of persons who were pious and of superior wisdom. He was considerate and always the first to welcome guests. Rama firmly adhered to true and honored the Brahmanas. He loved the citizens and they loved him. Rama always acted according to religious principles and was learned in all the scriptures. He epitomized youthful vigor and was a mature judge of character. Rama was always diligent in punishing wrongdoers and rewarding the virtuous. As a horseman and the wielder of the bow, Ram excellent, excelled all others, and he was the greatest of the chariot warriors. Indeed, Ram was the lord of the three worlds and the controller of eternal time. He was unconquerable even by the greatest demigods and demons. Maharaj Dashrath had ruled his kingdom for 60,000 years. Now, having grown old and fatigued, he finally desired to retire from his royal duties to prepare himself for an exalted destination after quitting his body. However, Maharaj Dashrath began a to see various omens forbidding evil. Thus, he anxiously desired to install Ram as the heir apparent as quickly as possible. For this purpose, Maharaj Dashrath called a meeting of his ministers, prominent citizens, and subordinate kings. However, in his haste, Maharaj Dashrath did not formally invite King Janak or Kekai, feeling confident of their support. Thereafter, when all were assembled, Maharaj Dashrath announced, I have grown old and now desire to hand the royal throne over to my eldest son, Rama, who has reached the age of 27. It is now the sacred month of Chitra, and tomorrow the auspicious constellation Pushya will be ascending. Therefore, with your permission, I will direct that the ceremony for installing Rama as the heir apparent begin tomorrow. The assembled ministers, kings, and citizens all applauded Dashratha's proposal. They then glorified Rama's incomparable virtues, equating him with Lord Vishnu himself. Thus Maharaj Dashrath was both pleased and relieved. After everyone departed, he requested Vishishta Muni to immediately begin preparations for the installation ceremony. Vishishta then ordered the chief minister Sumantra to arrange for the city to be gorgeously decorated and make all other preparations so that the ceremony could start early the next day. Maharaj Dashrath then summoned Ram to the royal assembly. Soon thereafter, Ram entered the royal assembly and came before his father. Approaching his father with folded hands, Ram fell flat at the feet, offering his respects. Maharaj Dashrath then picked up his son and, after tightly embracing him, said, My dear Ram, I have grown old and weary, and feel it is now time for me to retire. I have sufficiently enjoyed all matter of royal opulence. I have performed innumerable sacrifices, and I have distributed huge amounts of wealth to the Brahmanas. You, Ram, are my eldest and favorite son. Likewise, all the ministers and citizens love you dearly. Therefore, I have arranged that tomorrow you will be installed as the heir apparent to the royal throne. Hearing this, some of Ram's friends ran to Mother Kaushalya, hoping to be the first to deliver the wonderful news to her. Upon hearing the news, she became overjoyed and gave the bearer of the good tidings gold, jewels, and cow in charity. Thereafter, when Rama returned to his own place, crowds of cheering citizens greeted him along the way. Meanwhile, Maharaj Dashrath entered his inner apartment to lie down for some rest. Just as the king was drifting off to sleep, however, he experienced a recurring ominous dream. Waking with a start, he immediately sent Sumantra to summon Ram. The king felt apprehensive that there might be some obstruction to his son's planned installation. Hearing that his father had again called him, Ram also felt a degree of apprehension. Making toward his father's place with haste, Ram entered his father's room, inquiring what was needed of him. Dashrath embraced Ram and said, "My dear Ram, all of my desires in life have been fulfilled, except to see you installed on the throne. Unfortunately, due to the influence of Sun, Mars, and Rahu, this is a very bad astrological period for me. Moreover, I have been experiencing disturbing dreams, prompting me to think that a great calamity awaits me. Therefore, I am eager to expedite matters. I want the installation ceremony to begin immediately, even without the presence of your brother Bharat and Shatrughan. You and Sita should fast tonight for purification. Then tomorrow, in the early morning, prepare yourself for the installation." Ram returned to his palace to inform Sita of the arrangements for the following day. Not finding her there, however, Ram went to the residence of his mother. When Ram entered Kaushalya's room, he saw her sitting with half closed eyes and suspensed breath, silently praying to her household deity, Lord Narayana, for Ram's good fortune. Kaushalya, who was being attended by Lakshman and Sumitra, got up to greet her son. The Ram addressed her, saying, "O mother, father wishes to install me as the heir apparent to the royal throne." With tears in her eyes, Kaushalya replied, "My austerities have surely not been in vain. May you and Sita live long and happily together." Smiling, Ram turned to his brother Lakshman and said, "My dear brother, you must rule the kingdom along with me, for you are just like my second self. Indeed, I could not even think of finding happiness in royal luxury, or even life itself without you." Thereafter, Ram returned to his palace in a jubilant mood. Sita and Ram worshipped Lord Narayana together and then laid down to take rest for the night. Meanwhile, within the city, all the citizens were merrily engaged in preparing for the coming festives. All the streets in Ayodhya were washed with perfumed water and sacred was fragrant flowers and scattered with fragrant flowers. Sorry. Brilliant, colorful lights burned in every house and meeting place, turning night into day. The noisy crowds swelled like waves of sea. The numerous elephants, horses, and camels appear to be like large aquatic animals within the ocean. At the time of Kaikeyi's marriage to Maharaj Dashrath, her father Ashwapati, the king of Kaikeya, had given her a hunchbacked maidservant named Mantah- Mantahara. Mantahara was actually an just a second. I'm really sorry. Give me 2 minutes. I guess I missed the page. Sorry, yeah. Manthara was actually an apsara deputed by the demigods to appear on the earth to assist in the killing of Ravana. The evening before Ram's planned installation, Manthara went onto the palace roof. From there, she could see how the entire city of Ayodhya was splendidly decorated, the streets crowded with citizens in a jubilant mood. Surprised at seeing this, Manthara approached Ram's former nurse and inquired, "What great occasion warrants such a celebration? Why do I see Kaushalya in such a joyful mood and giving lavish charity to the Brahmanas?" The nurse happily replied, "Tomorrow the constellation Pushya will be in the ascendant, taking advantage of the auspicious time. Maharaj Dashrath will install Ram as his heir apparent to the royal throne." This unexpected news pierced the envious heart of Manthara. Suspicious foul play by the king, she suddenly became enraged, and thus sought Kaikeyi. Surprised at finding her mistress peacefully lounging on the couch in her apartment, Manthara exclaimed, get up, you fool! Can't you see the disaster that is about to engulf you? Are you so deluded by your husband's sweet words that you do not realize what is happening before your eyes?" Kaikeyi innocently replied that she could find no fault in her husband's plan. This, however, only further enraged Manthara. Having mastered the art of persuasive speech, Manthara then spoke to Kaikeyi in a way that eventually caused her to doubt her husband. Posing her well-wisher, Manthara continued, "Surely you are aware of your husband's plan to install Ram as his successor to the throne. Can't you see how deceitfully your husband has acted? He has merely sent Bharat away so that he can secretly install his pet son Ram on the throne. Once Ram becomes emperor, your son will meet his ruin and you will be plunged into an ocean of despair. Moreover, because I am dependent on you, your fortune is also mine. Please let me help you before it is too late. Please act quickly to save your own son Bharat and yourself." Kaikeyi was surprised to hear maidservant speaking so boldly. She replied, "I am happy to know that Ram will be installed on the throne. As a reward for delivering this wonderful news, please take this jewel. Indeed, you may ask for anything you desire." Kaikeyi placed a priceless jewel in Manthara's hand, but the maidservant threw it aside. Manthara indignantly replied, I am shocked to see that you can express joy on the eve of disaster. Passing over Bharat to choose Ram should be a great insult to you. You may imagine that you are Dashratha's favorite. However, in truth, it is Kaushalya whom he adores. Don't you feel humiliated? You imagine that you are happy, but it will be Kaushalya who prospers. Once Ram becomes king, you will be compelled to act as Kaushalya's maidservant, and Bharat will be forced to become Ram's slave. In this way, Kaikeyi's heart gradually became poisoned by Manthara's hateful words. Indeed, when her enviousness of Kaushalya was fully aroused, her face became flushed with anger. Thus Kaikeyi relented, saying, Manthara, perhaps you are right. Somehow Ram must be banished to the forest so that my own son can be installed on the throne. Please let me know. Please tell me how I might accomplish this. Manthara then related how Dashrath had formerly fought on the side of Indra against the demons, headed by Sambara. Because Sambara knew so many illusionary tricks, the demigods were afraid to fight with him. Once, after the demigods had severely routed the once after the demons had severely routed the demigods, Dashrath led an attack on their capital city, Vijayanta. Although he fought heroically, Dashrath was critically wounded during the battle and fell unconscious. Kaikeyi then removed him from the battlefield and saved his life. Out of deep gratitude, Maharaj Dashrath offered Kaikeyi two boons. However, she replied she would ask for them when she needed. Manthara then said, Now is the time to ask for those promised boons. With one, you will ask that Bharat be installed to the throne. With the other, demand that Ram be banished to the forest for 14 years. Ram's absence will give Bharat the opportunity to establish his popularity among the citizens. Then his position as rightful ruler will be secure. Then Manthara further instructed Kaikeyi, saying, Go to the sulking chamber and, after throwing off your costly ornaments and royal dress, put an old dirty cloth and tie on the cold floor. When Maharaj Dashrath comes to see you, remain silent and first. However, do not worry. His attachment to you is so great, he will not be able to bear seeing you unhappy. He will do anything to pacify you. Regardless, keep your ambition firmly fixed in your mind. You will not settle for anything less than having your son installed on the throne. Do not allow him to pacify you with gold, jewels, or anything else. Simply remind him of the two boons he promised. When he consents to this, then you shall demand that Bharat be installed immediately and Ram banished to the forest. Because her fickle heart had come completely under the sway of malice and greed, Kaikeyi was delighted with Manthara's plan. She assured the maidservant that she would follow her advice to the letter. Indeed, through her twisted association, Kaikeyi had become obsessed with the idea of making Bharat the emperor of the world. Like a mad woman, Kaikeyi glorified Manthara, considering her to be the cause of all good fortune. She said, My dear Manthara, although hunchbacks are generally sinful, you are wise and honorable. I think Your so-called deformed body is quite beautiful. Indeed, you stoop over like a lotus flower bended in the breeze. Thus, your appearance is very charming. Moreover, your breasts are large and lovely, concealing your delicate navel as they bend low. Your hips are graceful and your thighs are smooth and shapely. Dressed in bright silk, you appear to shimmer, while the ankle bells that circle your soft feet tinkle melodiously. The entire science of diplomacy must be residing within your hump, which is as large as the hub of a chariot wheel. My dear Mantra, when Bharat is installed as heir apparent, I shall garland you hump with a chain of pure gold. When Ram is exiled to the forest, I shall smear your hump with sandalwood paste. O Mantra, I will reward you with exquisite dresses and ornaments, and make all the other hunchback women become your maidservants and massage your feet. Uh, shall I continue or we want to discuss Hare Krishna?
Yeah, so I think initially we had discussed that we'll just read, and anybody, if they have questions, they will note down and then later on can discuss.
Okay, okay, so I'll continue reading.
So you can, yeah.
I hope my speed is good enough for you to understand because I'm not sharing my screen.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Meanwhile, having completed all necessary arrangements for Ram's installation, Maharaj Dashrath returned to his palace, desiring to see Kaikai. Filled with longing for his youngest queen, Dashrath was surprised to find her absent when he entered her room. Thinking her to be nearby, the king called out her name. However, when there was no response, he became apprehensive, for she had never before left her apartment without notice. Finally, after inquiring from a servant, Maharaj Dashrath learned that Kaikai had entered the sulking chamber. He hastened there with an anxious heart. When the king entered the room, he was shocked to see Kaikai lying on the bare floor, with her ornaments and garlands scattered about. She looked like an apsara fallen from heaven. In king's mind, the beautiful young Kaikai was dearer than life itself. Thus, seeing her in such a state caused him great pain and alarm. Falling to his knees, the king lovingly stroked her face and asked his beloved queen, "What is troubling you, my dear Kaikai? What is the cause of your despondency, whatever it may be? Please, no, I am prepared to remedy it. Have I not been paying enough attention to you? Do you have an argument with one of your Sorry, did you have an argument with one of your co-wives? Has someone done something to anger you? My dearest one, please, no, I am under your control. I could never avoid trying to please you. Please speak freely and tell me what troubles you. Let me dispel your sorrow as the rising sun evaporates the morning mist. Pierced by Cupid's shaft of love, Maharaj Dashrath was a slave to the urges of passion. Upon hearing the king's words, Kaikeyi felt confident that her goal would be achieved. After a brief silence, Kaikeyi replied, "No one has insulted me or shown me any disrespect. My lord, I will tell you what is on my mind. However, you must first assure me that you will unhesitatingly accomplish whatever I desire." While resting her head upon his lap, Maharaj Dashrath tenderly smoothed Kaikeyi's dishevelled hair and replied, "You know that I love no one more except Ram. I swear that I will execute whatever you order. Feel free to tell me what you want, and I will accomplish it without fail. Please know that I will always do whatever you want. Now tell me what is troubling you." After hearing his triple assurance, Kaikeyi was certain that her husband was completely under her thumb. Urged by urged on by an unflamed desire born of partially towards her son, the queen proclaimed the following terrible words: "May the 12 Adityas and the 11 Rudras, the 8 Vasus and the twin Ashwinis bear witness. May the sun and moon, night and day, and the four directions also bear witness. May the Gandharvas, Rakshasas, Pithas, Bhutas, Pishachas, and all other living creatures bear witness now. My illustrious lord, the follower of Dharma and adherent to truth, has promised to fulfill my desire. Remember, my dear husband, the battle between the demigods and the demons when you were critically wounded and left for dead? Remember how I nursed you back to life? Because of this, you promised to award me 2 benedictions. O noble king, you must grant me these 2 boons today without fail. Otherwise, I shall give up my life from grief. Therefore, my request is this: let Bharata be installed as the heir apparent to the royal throne, utilizing the very preparations you have made for Ram. This is my first wish. Second, I desire for Ram to depart for the Dandkarnaya forest this very day, to live in exile for the next 14 years, wearing only tree bark and deer skin. Hearing Kaikeyi's ultimatum, Maharaj Dashrath became stunned with bewilderment. Burning with distress, he wondered, what is happening to me? Am I perceiving a vision from my previous life? Perhaps I have gone completely wrong. Thinking in this way, the king immediately became overwhelmed with grief. He lost consciousness and fainted onto the floor. Then, when he recovered after a brief spell, the, the agonized Dashrath found the situation too painful to cope with and again fell into a swoon. It was only after a long time that King Dashrath regained full consciousness. Summoning his courage, he felt a burning rage swelling within his heart. With great agitation, Maharaj Dashrath rebuked Kaikeyi. "You vicious woman, are you so pervasive that you are determined to destroy my entire dynasty? What have I done to deserve this? What offences has Ram ever committed against you? Ram l- loves you as much as his own mother. Why are you so bent upon harming him? Everyone loves Ram more than life itself, and I also could not live without him. I could abandon my other 2 wives if need be, but I could never forsake Ram." His rage being vented, Maharaj Dashrath's mood suddenly changed. The king then humbly touched his head to Kaikeyi's feet and pleaded, "My dear beautiful queen, please give up your terrible determination. Ram is the embodiment of all virtues. He is kind, forgiving, truthful, gentle, fixed in his duty, and the well-wisher of everyone. Ram and the Ram has always served you as lovingly as your son Bharat. If not more, if you insist, I will install Bharat as the heir apparent to the throne. But I could never think of banishing Ram to the forest. How can you dare even considering harming Ram? Indeed, he is completely faultless. He has never uttered an unkind word to you. My dear beloved one, have pity on me. Ask for any other benediction. I am ready to give you the entire earth, but not this. If I banish Ram, I will surely die. Please spare me from executing this most cruel and irreligious act. As Maharaj Dashrath spoke, he writhed in agony, wailing piteously. Although the king prayed for her mercy, Kaikeyi remained unmoved. Standing fast in her determination, she responded, "How can you dare speak about dharma while you are trying to rescind your promise of granting me these benedictions? You solemnly promised that, and I shall not forget. Remember, King Sibi, who gave his own flesh to the hawk, just to fulfill his promise of protection to the pigeon. If you fail to keep your word, I will stain the reputation of your entire dynasty. Therefore, whatever the circumstance, you must fulfill your promise." As Kaikeyi spoke, her determination increased. Overwhelmed by anger and greed, and giving up all senses of shame and decency, Kaikeyi said, "O king, I know your true motive. Once Ram is installed as the heir apparent, it will be easier for you to push my son and me away. With this impediment removed, you will be free to enjoy your life fully with Kaushalya. However, I vow that if you do not keep your promise, I shall drink poison and die this very day." Then Kaikeyi remained silent as Maharaj Dashrath agonized over her words, staring into space with unblinking eyes. The king again lost all equilibrium and fell to the ground uttering Ram, Ram. After some time, the king regained partial composure and asked his wife, "O misguided women, from whom did you learn such shameful wickedness? Do you not know that even if Bharat were to be installed, he would not accept the kingdom without Ram? What will people think of me for performing such an ignoble act? Everyone will ridicule me, saying, 'There goes the lusty king, who was so attached to his wife that he sent his beloved son into exile. How do you think there will be happiness under such conditions?'" Pausing in his speech, Maharaj Dashrath began wondering how Ram, who had always enjoyed the comforts of royal opulence, would be able to live in a harsh life in the forest. As his pain and anger increased with these thoughts, the king suddenly mocked, O righteous queen, I wish you all success in ruling the kingdom after having rid yourself of all your relatives. Do not expect me to play a part in your sinister plan. I shall never grant your demands, never." Regarding the king's bluster soon faded as helplessness welled up within him. He again implored his queen to to re- retract her statement, saying, "Please take back all you have said." Saying this, he again fainted. After Dashrath regained consciousness, he again rebuked Kaikeyi. "Oh, how condemned women are! Oh, how condemned women are! They are cruel, pervasive, and selfish by nature. If not all women, then surely you, O mother of Bharat. Your demands are evil and malicious. I will never grant them. You can scream as you like, take poison or threaten me, but I shall never banish Ram to the forest." Dashrath's eyes were red from weeping and his voice pitiful to hear. Yet Kaikeyi courteously turned her head away. Again and again he begged her, but to not avail. The king prayed that the night would never pass, so that he would not have to face the ordeal of banishing Ram to the forest the following day. However, the King Dashrath finally realized that Kaikeyi was unwavering in her determination, and again fainted from hopelessness. While King Dashrath was arguing with Kaikeyi, Vashishta Muni completed the preparation for the coronation ceremony. The moon, lord of the stars, had entered the lunar mansion of Pushya, and the sacred hour of installation had arrived. As Vishishta Muni made his way through the streets to the king's palace, he saw that flags, festoons, and garlands decorated all the house. Likewise, the streets, which had been sprinkled with scented water, were filled with throngs of people anxiously awaiting Lord Ram's appearance. Passing through the joyous crowds, Vishishta Muni, followed by other great sages, entered the palace grounds that were beautifully decorated with gardens and reservoirs of water, replete with lotus flower swans and shade-giving flower trees. As Vishishta Muni was about to enter the palace, he saw Sumantra, King Dashrath's chief minister, who had also just arrived. "Please tell His Majesty that I have returned," Vishishta told him. "I have brought golden water pots filled with water from the sacred river, and a special seat of sacred wood has been made for Ram's use during the sacrifice. I have also bought various seeds, aromatic perfumes, and precious jewels for the coronation. I have collected honey, curd, roots, ghee, milk, spices, flowers, parched paddy grains, and blades of sacred grass, all to be used in the sacrifice. I have also bought 8 virgin girls and many excellent elephants, a splendid chariot drawn by 4 horses, a special sword, a bow, a palanquin with bearers, an umbrella resembling the moon, a pair of camera fans, a sacred bowl, a throne decorated with carved lions. Everything necessary for the sacrifice has been collected. Therefore, please ask the king to bring Ram so that the ceremony may begin as soon as the moon has fully entered the constellation Pushya." Entering the king's chambers, Sumantra soon reached the room where Dashrath and Kaikeyi were sitting. Not knowing what had taken place between the king and his wife, Sumantra was joyful. He was, therefore, quite surprised when the king, whose happiness had forever terminated, cried out loud, "O Sumantra, you are cutting my heart to pieces," and fell unconscious to the floor. The king has not spent all night because the king has not slept all night because of his joy over Ram's installation, Kaikeyi told him. Then the king regained consciousness and ordered Sumantra to summon Ram. At Ram's palace, Sumantra was quickly ushered into the presence of Sita and Ram. The Lord was garlanded with white lotus flowers, with golden necklace covering his transcendental body, being attended by servants who were fanning him with cameras and offering him various gifts with great devotion. Ram appeared, just like the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who in fact he was. Hearing the king's summon, Ram remarked to Sita, "My father must be calling me for some auspicious purpose concerning the installation ceremony." As Ram departed, Lakshman was standing at the gate, waiting for Ram with folded hands. Ram took his brother with him and then mounted his chariot, travelling through the streets of Ayodhya. Although the way this Along the way, the citizens cheered, praising Ram for the accomplishment of musicians. Sorry, uh, praising Ram to the praising Ram to the accompaniment of musicians. Wherever he went, the people could not take their eyes away from him. Indeed, the natural characteristic of Lord Ram is that whoever looks upon him cannot bear to look away. Reaching the inner gate of his father's palace, Ram descended from his chariot and dismissed the citizens that had accompanied him. As he entered his father's room, Ram saw Maharaj Dashrath seated on a couch with Kaikai. The king's face was a withered mask of dejection and anxiety. As Ram approached, the king could only murmur, "Ram, Ram," as his eyes filled with tears, unable to look directly at his son. Seeing his father's distressed state, Ram's heart became filled with grief and apprehension. He wondered, "What has happened to make my father so dispirited? Why is he not happy to see me?" Ram then inquired from Kaikai, "What is the cause of my father's distress? Have I done something to offend him?" Kaikai began, "Is neither angry nor offended. He does, however, have something to tell you. He fears that by doing so he will hurt you. Therefore, let me explain. Formerly, your father offered me two boons after I had saved him in precarious situation on the battlefield. However, due to unmanly weakness, he now hesitates to fulfill his promise. Therefore, Ram, you should protect your father's virtue by convincing him to not fall prey of dishonesty. O Ram, if you promise me that you are fully prepared to carry out the king's orders, then I shall disclose you the nature of the two boons I desire." Feeling deeply hurt, Ram replied, "My dear mother, I am surprised that there is any doubt in your mind that I would unflinchingly carry out my father's wishes, even if it meant entering into fire. Please tell me what my father wants. Do not doubt that I will act accordingly. This is my solemn promise." Gaining Ram's assurance, the cruel Kaikai said, "Formerly, when your fa- when your father was severely wounded in the uh, fighting fighting the demon Sambara, at the behest of the demigods, I carefully nursed him back to life. Feeling a deep sense of gratitude, the king begged me to accept two boons. I said that I would accept them later in a time of need. Now I wish to utilize these boons. First, I have to request your father to install Bharat as the heir apparent to the throne. Secondly, I have asked the king to banish you to the forest for 14 years, where you will live as an aesthetic with matted hair and dressed with tree bark and deerskin. It is your duty to ensure that your father does not go back on his word and thus tread the path of unrighteousness." Hearing her words, Ram did not become even slightly distressed or agitated. Without any indication of displeasure, he cheerfully replied, "My dear mother, I shall immediately retire to the forest as you desire. Let messengers be sent at once to summon Bharat. I have no regrets. My only wish is that you and my father may always look upon me favorably. My dear mother, please do not harbor any ill feelings towards me." At this, Kaikeyi exclaimed with delightment, "It is settled. Send messengers to my brother's house, so that my son may come here at once. As for you, Ram, I urge you to depart for the forest without delay. Do not worry about your father. For the moment he is bewildered, but after your departure he will come around." Okay. Shall we stop, or we can continue for another 5 minutes?
I think we'll continue next time.
Okay.
There's no reply from anyone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get therapy session. Oh, continue.
Okay, so I'll continue. Ram then said, "My dear mother, it is grieves me. It grieves me that my father has not ordered me himself, but I am ready to depart for the forest with your command alone." Hearing this conversation, Maharaj Dashrath could only murmur, "How painful, how terrible." When Kaikeyi finished speaking, the king again fainted onto the floor. Then, as Ram gently lifted up his father, he told Kaikeyi, "I do not want to live in this world as a slave to greed and passion. Like this Ricis, I am devoted to righteousness. I would never give up the path of virtue for the sake of ruling a mere kingdom. Dear mother, there was no need in bothering my father. If you would simply have asked me directly, I would have unhesitatingly given you the kingdom and retire to the forest." Ram bowed to the king Dashrath and Kaikeyi and departed to tell his mother the news. Laksh- Lakshman, who had heard everything at the door, followed his elder brother. It was only with great effort that he managed to control his rage. As the two brothers left the palace, a pitiful wailing was heard from all who had found about Ram's impending exile. When Maharaj Dashrath heard those cries of lamentation, he hid himself under the bedsheet in shame. When Ram entered Kaushalya's apartment, he was joyfully greeted and ushered into mother's room. When he came in, she immediately embraced him, saying, "I am so happy, Ram. Today you will be installed as successor to the throne." With great gentleness and humility, Ram replied, "My dear mother, please do not allow yourself to be to be overcome by grief at what I must tell you. Because of two benedictions that my father formerly promised Kaikai, Bharat will be installed as the heir apparent to the throne, and this very day I shall leave Ayodhya, dwell in the forest for 14 years, dwell in the for dwell in the forest for 14 years. Hearing this, Kaushalya immediately fainted to the floor. Then, after Ram tenderly lifted Kaushalya to her feet, she bitterly lamented, "What greater misery could befall me than this? It would be better for me to have remained childless. Why has death not come to me instantly upon hearing of this calamity? My younger co-wives will surely despise me now. By hearing their taunts, my life will be made doubt doubly miserable. Doubly miserable. Until then, Lakshman had controlled his rage. However, no longer able to remain silent, he suddenly bursted out. O Ram, our father has become sentile and pervasive, being overpowered by lust. He has become a plaything in the hands of the wicked Kaikai. Why should we passively stand by and accept this? A father, a king, or a spiritual master who cannot distinguish between what should and what should not be done must be rejected. Ram, you should take over the government immediately before everyone hears of the king's decision to install Bharat. Besides, even if all the ministers and citizens have found out, if they are against your installation, I am prepared to annihilate the whole Ayodhya if necessary. My dear mother, you should know that I at least am loyal to Ram. Indeed, I am ready to kill foolish Dashrath if it is necessary to install Ram upon the throne. Alright, I think we should end here for today. We'll continue in the next session.